Hello, ladies on YouTube. I'm going to talk about the content of my upcoming program, Journey Inward. I'm trying to look for screen sharing features, but I don't think I find it here. Hold on a second. Manage stream. I'm not sure I can do it here. Screen sharing on YouTube. But anyway, say hello when you show up. I'll wait a little bit. And I'm also gonna go live right now on Facebook. So hold on a second, ladies. All right. All right, I'm gonna go live on also my pages and in the groups. Hello, everyone on Facebook. I am on my 2 pages as well as in the groups, as well as on YouTube. Everyone, say hello when you see me. I want to talk about the content of my upcoming program, Journey Inward. I'm trying to find a screen share thing. Now I don't know where to find it. It was earlier there. Okay, let me see. This is like the first time I want to try a new thing by screen sharing. Oh, you have to do it before. I see. So now I know. You have to click start screen share before you can screen sharing in the beginning of the live class. But I don't want to screen share the whole time. I want you ladies to also see me. So I guess in, in that case, there will be no screen sharing today. I learned about these things probably in the upcoming classes. But anyway, ladies, oh, there are gentlemen out there. I just want to say hello. How are you today? This is a Tuesday, a very fine Tuesday. Still a little bit chilly here in California, where I live near San Diego. It's 2:45 p.m. right now. So say hello when you arrive. I just want a little bit until some of you are here. Okay. Say hello so I know I can see the comments here. This is a new experience, ladies. So it's a bit like confusing because I'm also streaming just from one page and then I can cross post it to my other page and all the groups. So I don't know how it works. So I need some reaction from you. Hi, Judith. Hi, Lindsay. Sweetheart for being here. Who else is here? Great. So just wait a little bit more, ladies, because I want more people to tune in. Let me see. I try to share it on my page right now. So hopefully you will sign up after this class. And if you have a questions, get ready with the questions, ladies. All right. Journey inward will be something that will stay with you for a very long time because it's truly, truly life changing. It's truly, truly life transforming. And I want to include as many of you as possible because you get to really uh, gain the therapeutic benefits of journey inward by sitting with me every week in the class for about 5 to 6 months. Okay, because it's going to be much longer than the last journey inward that I conducted live, which was module 1 of the feminine magnetism group. At that time, I believe I had like 11 weeks, right? So right now it's probably going to be, if it's one class a week in 6 months, then it's about between 20 to 24 classes and a lot of interaction, of course, other than weekly, also in the group daily. If you have problems that I need to take care of, you can just show up in the group for the coaching and ask me the questions, and you will get the answer. Uh, Probably some live classes in between just to address your stubborn issues that you don't know how to deal with, right? And also in the form of just you post and I will respond also in writing. But ladies, the way I operate, okay, I'm the sort of person these days that really don't think ahead. Not so much of what am I gonna do like 6 months from now or next year or 5 years from now. No. And this is why I live my life stress free. And I want you to adopt that kind of approach. I want to introduce it to you that you don't really have to worry about the future, for your future to be okay, to be secure for you. Now, I want to teach you all that. So whenever I give you the breakdown of the content of Journey Inward, doesn't mean it's going to be set in stone or it's going to be fixed. No, the way I teach this day is more like channeling whatever transpires moment to moment in my consciousness. So I'm a very spontaneous person. And because I'm spontaneous, I'm also very flexible and very responsive, right? So if I notice that I need to change my approach or I need to add certain things or like eliminate certain things, I do it on the spot because I want to be able to be relevant to you, to connect to you, especially because you pay a lot of money. Not, I mean, for some of you probably not a lot, but for most people, would be a lot of money. So I want to make sure that I fulfill your expectations, meaning that I get to work very closely, very intimately with you, addressing your personal and specific problems. That is my approach to coaching. Very generous. Those people who have been following me a while know that there is nothing more important to me than to help you succeed in whatever, in overcoming whatever challenges and issues you have in your personal, romantic, and just your life in general. There's nothing that makes me happier knowing that I help you. Okay, as I say, the money always helps. Obviously, you cannot have the world go around without money, right? The money makes the world go around. But more than anything, I would like to uh, be able to be your guide to help you. So whenever I say I will have this subject or that subject, you know, in the actual delivery of the program, very likely there will be a lot of like shifts. So maybe I will talk about this subject instead of that first, and so forth and so on. And I will add more subjects because I see some of you have a very like hairy, tricky situation that is so persistent, right? So I want to be relevant to you. I want to address your specific needs. So that is how I conduct my classes today. Even today, I don't know what to speak. And as usual, because I become so good at this, I no longer worry. I really don't know what to speak because whenever I show up with you, I always have a lot to speak. So I no longer worry about public speaking like this, right? I used to, but with practice, you get better and you become more surrendered to the process. That is how I live my life. It's always surrendered to the process. And if you know how to surrender to the process, ladies, all your problems in the world and in your relationships, in your marriage, will be curtailed by at least half. Okay. A lot of you have problems because you don't know how to surrender to the process. You always think ahead. You're always worrying, like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. You start like churning, plans in your head about what you need to do 2 weeks from now, 2 years from now. And as the result, it doesn't make you like live your life in a very relaxed, surrendered, happy way, but it makes you very neurotic. And in a relationship, especially, this kind of thing that you're not being able just to sit still and enjoying the moment. It's always futuring, it's always worrying about the future. That is why a lot of men cannot bond with you. A lot of time when I'm coaching you, ladies, some of you will always sort of worry about what if he does this? What if I said, worry about it when it happens. Come to me when it happens. Right now, he's not doing what you expect him to be doing, or you worry that he's going to do, right? So why worry about things that haven't happened yet? Just enjoy the moment. Okay, when it happens, you you can deal with it on the spot. You don't have to worry like 2 years before it happens, and you don't even know if it happens. Do you understand what I'm saying? So never worry about what challenges you might uh, see in the future uh, when you pretty much in the position that you have no idea whatsoever. But of course, if you already have some kind of idea this is gonna happen, that is something you need to do. So whatever you do becomes just like a response to a necessity moment to moment. I'm not saying never plan at all. It's not what I'm saying, ladies. What I'm saying is sometimes you plan when you need to plan. Sometimes, a lot of times, you really don't have to plan. Okay? So usually, week to week, I will know what to speak just pretty much a few days before the class. Because then I would follow my intuition. I would follow the signs. I would follow my feelings, right? So if you walk the path of life with just so much confidence and convictions that whatever it is that you need to do will become so clear and apparent in the moment it happens, unless, of course, there are reasons for you to actually plan ahead. I will tell you what's for example. But a lot of time, you will know until you walk the walk, and then you see like there is some bump along the road, so you know what to do, right? You cannot just like plan. Oh, if there is a bump, I would do this, I would do that. You don't know what you're gonna do until you actually come across a bump. right? Because you don't know the shape of the bomb, or how deep, like how high, how tall, stuff like that. For example, though, sometimes you need to plan, right? For example, for if you going away for a vacation, for example, a lot of times you need to plan ahead of time because you only have a week, for example, right? So if you don't plan ahead of time, you wouldn't have enough opportunity or enough time to really like to do everything that you want. So you plan ahead of time. But in my case, though, because I'm not really constrained with time, pretty much I can do whatever I want whenever I want, go as long as I want, and come home whenever I want. I don't usually do that. Usually, what I do is, I want to go to Japan. I wonder what is Japan, what Japan looks like. So I'm just gonna pack and then go to the airport, and I decide when I get to my Airbnb or hotel what I'm gonna do in Japan. Stuff like that. I've done it because I just don't have time to plan, and it doesn't matter to me because I pretty much, very I have a lot of flexibility, which I'm very thankful for. That I don't have to be home at certain times, uh, so for some people they have the privilege to do that. But if you don't, because you work full time, right, for a company, you have to plan your vacation. So because you only have 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying? With this program, I prefer to do it organically, letting this program sort of evolve organically with you as the participant. Sorry, because every program will be different. I don't read from scripts. So whenever I conduct a program, you always ask, is it gonna be the same like the previous one I took? No, it's not gonna be the same. No two programs are going to be the same with me because number one, I'm evolving. I learn new things, new insights. I gain new insights, and I unlearn some things as well. So things that I might have thought important in the past, I probably see it in quite a different way this time. And then, of course, because the program is involving you, the participants will be different from cycle to cycle, right? So, and the cases will be different, the challenges will be different. So add those things into the equation, the program is going to be organic, meaning alive. It's not going to be the same. I don't have scripts to read. You see, I just, I'm just channeling whatever I'm receiving at this very moment to you. I'm gonna give it to you. So I consider myself this day as a channeler. I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller, by the way, but I'm just conveying, what I receive. Okay. So this program, ladies, is gonna be a long one. Whenever you are in a situation, in a life situation that really stresses you out, depresses you, and you just have no idea how to get out of, this program will help you a great deal. Why is it going to help you a great deal? Because this program will uh, give you gain, or will help you gain clarity. Yeah. So a lot of us, we get confused because we don't know, we don't have clarity upon a situation. My job is to provide you with a lot of angles and a lot of perspectives, otherwise inaccessible. Because you're so, like, when you have a problem, you're so pigeonholed, you're so bogged down in your issues, right? You cannot see things objectively because you are too emotionally invested. And to have someone like me to help you see from a detached point of view, which going to help you a great deal, is really a lifesaver. So if you have any doubt at all, that this program will help you, you can PM me after this class, and I will explain it further to you. All right. So, ladies, first of first week of this program, I would like to talk about the expansion of consciousness. It was also like the first thing that I talk about in Module 1, Journey Inward. But rest assured, what I'm going to speak this time around will not be the same as that first week of the same program 4 years ago. That was 4 years ago. I think it's almost 5 years ago, in fact. So it's very rare for me to conduct Journey Inward lives, probably once every 4 years or 5 years. So this is your chance, ladies, to really just get the most of it while it also going to be the cheapest. Because the way I do it with my program, as you well know, I don't start with like 10,000 worth of programs, just like some vanity coaches out there think they're worth of. They charge you an arm and a leg, for who knows what. I always start modest, okay? When I know that it helps a lot of people, over time, I got a lot of testimonials, then I start increasing it a little bit just to adjust, with the inflation, all that, right? So this is like uh, the chance for you to get it live with me and work closely with me every week for 6 months, as well as you get it at the cheapest rate, because I can assure you, maybe next year or 2 years, 3 years from now, it will go up a little bit. Okay. So, because my program is evergreen as well. So you can always attend anytime in your life cycle. And you will want to visit this program over and over and over the course of your lifetime, because as you grow, your cognition, your discernment will also grow. So, for example, you wouldn't understand probably a lot of things I say at the first round, right? And you just don't your mind cannot grasp it because you don't have the experience to be able to relate to what I say. But through life, then don't worry. Life will always show you the lessons. So don't worry if now, Kat, I don't understand at all what you're saying. It's okay if you don't understand. And trust me, maybe 15 or 10, 15 years ago, I wouldn't understand half of the thing I'm saying right now either. So be gentle with yourself. Of course, you can ask me a question, and I'll try my best to sort of convey it as simply as possible, right? But over time, through life experience, through more uh, like observations of what's going on around you, you begin to be able to make sense a lot of the concepts that is presented in this program. And all of a sudden, one day, wow, all of a sudden, now I understand what Kat means by ego, because you have a direct experience that is showing you, oh my God, I'm in my ego. How do I know I'm in my ego? Because I feel so much resistance in me. I feel this inner conflict in me, for example, right? So, and a lot of the approach of this program is going to be not through intellect, ladies. I always say to you, the intellect is very shallow. So when you still approach life through the mind level, through intellectual level, right, through parroting what you read, what you hear from other people, but you haven't really experienced it yourself, you just heard about it, right? It's not going to be the same as those who understand it from the intuitive level, from the core level, from the heart level. Okay. So mind level is like opinions. Oh, I think my opinions and this and not that you're not entitled to your opinions, but I always say to a lot of you who are stubborn with their opinions, I'm not interested in your opinions. Okay, because opinions really are shallow. I'm interested in what you know, what you know intuitively, what you experience. Opinions, everyone has opinions. And a lot of things that I convey to you. Of course, there will be some opinions. I wouldn't deny that, but a lot of it's really not uh, shouldn't be regarded as opinions, but as something that I am sharing. This is my inner process that I'm sharing. So it's not opinions. Opinions come from the mind, right? From the shallow level, from the intellectual level. But something that you know intuitively as true, right? That is sharing. So I'm sharing to you my inner process, my inner experience. And a lot of time, it cannot be approached through the mind, even though, of course, until you understand the difference, you're going to always go back to the mind. You're always going to be thinking about it, intellectualizing it. You can't help it. I couldn't help it too either. 10 years ago, perhaps, I would just repeat what I read, in some books or some gurus, some mentors say, but without really having uh, a direct understanding, first-hand experience or first-hand understanding of what it truly means. So hopefully, uh, by just being surrendered to the process, allowing yourself to learn and unlearn, you will get that first-hand experience, that taste of inner freedom, that taste of awakening, that taste of liberation. It has to be tasted. You know what I'm saying, ladies? For example, you would know how durian tastes. You know that thorny fruit durian, which is a tropical fruit. Where I come from, Indonesia, and a lot of Southeast Asian countries, durians are like the king fruit, are very popular, and it tastes. You have to taste it to know what it tastes, what it's like. You cannot intellectualize it. Or it's the same with everything, right? How do you know the taste of apple? You have to taste it. How do you know red? Oh, well, you have to see it. I cannot explain it to you. I can try, I can try probably with some different approaches and methods to convey the taste of durians or apples or grapes. But at the end of the day, unless you experience it for yourself, you taste durian for yourself, you see red or blue for yourself, you will never know beyond the conceptual level what they taste like or they look like. You understand what I'm saying? Remember, there's a difference, like in the Zen saying, between the moon and the finger that points to the moon, right? What I'm teaching you a lot of time is like a finger pointing to the moon. The moon itself, I cannot convey it to you. You have to be the moon itself to know what the moon is, right? Something like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the first week, I'm talking about the expansion of consciousness. So I differentiate consciousness into two realms, the egoic consciousness versus cosmic consciousness. What is egoic consciousness? Egoic consciousness is the realm of fear, anxiety, depression, and suffering, versus cosmic consciousness, which is the end of all suffering. Okay? If you still trapped in that little bubble called egoic consciousness, that everything you do, everything you think of is always revolving around yourself, around I, me, mine, right? You are going to be always bumping into slides against the integrity of yourself, because those who are in that mode of consciousness, their overriding uh, need is to preserve the ego boundaries, to preserve the integrity of the ego, right? So you're going to always be perceiving a lot of slight or insults, for example, when you live your life that way, right? And then a lot of you have that problem in your relationship with your man, partner, husband, uh, because everything revolves around preserving the ego boundaries. So, as opposed to those who already attain a level of consciousness that is more inclusive, there is more expansive, that I call cosmic consciousness. So someone who is already in the cosmic consciousness level, they pretty much can put themselves in the shoes of everyone else around them, right? And I always love to use that analogy of someone who is on the mountaintop. So you can see the valley, the rivers, everything around you, and make connection. So I want you to elevate you, ladies, to that position, to that altitude in which you're no longer so concerned and invested in just your in just the preservation of your ego or self. So as you are expanding conscious wise, you will be able to put yourself in the position of your parents, your children, your husband, your man, your your boss, as well as your employees. So you no longer react, but respond with added information, added sort of vantage point. You will be able to address every problem that arises in a more objective manner. You understand what I'm saying? So that is pretty much the, if I can say, the end goal of inner work is really to expand your consciousness from this very restricted and restrictive egoic consciousness to a cosmic consciousness, type of consciousness that include everything else and everyone else in the universe, right? Because with understanding comes what? In understanding comes compassion for all. Okay? So even though you're still angry at people, at the end of the day, though, you're not gonna be so controlled by that anger, for example, right? You can be still annoyed by certain people, but that anger, that annoyance is going to be measured, because you're not gonna employ, some really like extreme measure, just like you're trying to kill a mosquito with a gun. You know what I'm saying? So you might think certain group of people are whatever, right? They're primitive, they're backward. But at the end of the day, you understand this is the stage they are in. And pretty much people cannot choose, at the end of the day, cannot choose the stage they are in, because they haven't gone through a life journey that make them see, or that make them open their eyes, or open their horizon to allow different perspectives, different reality than what they are currently experiencing. So with that understanding, even though you are annoyed, you're angry, you're frustrated, at the end of the day, there is also a measure of surrenderedness, a measure of acceptance. Well, it is what it is. What are you going to do? So as always, when you don't accept, you're going to fight. You're going to resist all the time. And what you resist persists. Okay? Doesn't mean you cannot fight, for example, for your freedom, because I'm a freedom fighter too. But there is acceptance and surrenderedness in my outer appearance of fighting for freedom. I'm not fighting with myself. That's the key. So you can still fight for freedom, whatever it is that you want to fight, but the key is you always going to be uh, at peace with yourself at every stage of the journey. Right now, we are at the journey as a nation, as the member of human race, to really wake people up to the reality that you cannot give up your freedom for this perceived security, whatever you think makes you secure. Okay, a lot of people don't realize that, and it is very frustrating. I am very frustrated, in fact, and a lot of times I will express that frustration, but then again I will be able to garner a lot of uh, common sense into this. Like, you also will accompany that kind of frustration, that kind of struggle and battle, with the realizations that at the end of the day, these people are probably cannot choose, you know, the life journey they are on right now, the life stage they are on right now. And then with that comes compassion. You understand, ladies? So that is the first week. I'm gonna talk about the ego. What is the ego actually? And a lot of people use the word ego in a sort of like very liberally, meaning that ego doesn't mean that you are arrogant. A lot of people think ego means arrogance. No, that is your perception. If someone's arrogant, doesn't mean that that person operates from ego. Okay, you can only recognize in other people what you see in yourself first, whether or not you realize it. Okay, so that is your conditioning, that to say these things, to act this way means arrogance. Not necessarily. Depends on the person conveying that thing. Is he or is she, or are they conveying it in a sort of like resistance free way, or they are actually trying to portray an image that comes from their intellect, from their projection of the mind, of they want to believe they themselves are. It's not quite the same, and I will explain it to you in the class what it is. The ego is, okay. So, and after in talking about the ego, the expansion of consciousness, of course, at the end of the day, I have to uh, tell you the great news. Is there a path to the expansion of consciousness? What you can do to really expand your understanding of the world, of human nature, of the law of nature? Yes, absolutely. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to teach you this if I don't know the path. So I'm gonna show you the path. Okay, ladies. So it's the good news. Like in Buddhism, the basics of Buddha's teachings are the life that life is suffering. Correct. The Four Noble Truths. Life is suffering, uh, and but also the Buddha's and and the second noble truth. The Buddha reveals what is the cause of suffering. Do you know what? Which is desire or attachment to desire. And then, but the great news is there is the end of suffering. Yes, there is a possibility to the end of suffering. I have experienced it. And then the fourth noble truth is the, here's the path to the end of suffering. So pretty much, the Buddha is my teacher. So I'm kind of like uh, reinterpreting what the Buddha teaches in modern time that is relevant to you as someone who lives in 2021, right? Because this is eternal wisdom, ladies. It is timeless truth, timeless wisdom. It's there is no time limit to this. It's always true. Okay, and you will, through the program, you will understand why it's always true. So some, in the program, I will explain also, what one traditional way to freedom is through meditations, right? So yeah, there will be practices of meditations. There are different kinds of meditations, and I will explain it to you. Do I meditate? Ladies, these days, pretty much every waking moment of my life is a meditation. So I no longer have to really, take an hour sitting in a lotus position to meditate. Right now, for example, I'm meditating too because I'm just being aware of everything that transpire moments to moment, what is coming out of my mouth. I'm being very mindful of what I say and what I do. So when you become conversant of the idea of meditation, which is basically the absence of comparisons, that is what meditation is all about, right? Meditation is not about emptying your mind, about focusing on one thing, even though it can be approached that way as a starter, for beginners. But at the end of the day, meditation is not uh, anything about those things. But meditation is simply just be aware, like the lack of preferences. That's what meditation is. Whatever arises, you take note of it. You just uh, be okay and be aware of the stream of consciousness moment to moment. You are one with the stream of consciousness moment to moment. Some moments there will be thoughts, and those thoughts might be stupid, might be funny, might be damning, might be joyful. Whatever it is, you don't reject it. You accept everything. You welcome everything. If the thought that arises makes you cross, make you pissed off or angry, you're just aware of it. You will be probably angry for a second, but then you aware of the content of the thought, right? You aware of the arising of that angry thought that makes you feel angry. And the minute you realize it, you detach from that thought right away. So I want you to have that kind of skill in your love life, also in your life in general. And if you want to lash out anyway, which I do from time to time, you lash out with freedom, meaning you lash out and you're okay with it. I lash out because I need to lash out. I don't teach you oppression. That's a difference. There is a difference, right, between oppression and just responding out of necessity. Okay, so it's not true that someone who is awakened, who is emotionally free, will no longer be angry. It's not true at all. We will still be like human beings. The difference is we are not ruled by any particular emotion. There is anger, but that anger is not me. That is just angry thought in the moment and angry response out of necessity. Because some people sometimes need us to be angry to know what they do wrong, right? So you cannot say all anger is wrong. It's not. Just so I don't teach you to repress your feelings. As you well know, these days on social media, especially this platform that we are using right now, you're not supposed to have feelings anymore. You're supposed to be just like zombies. You cannot even like say things that used to be benign. These days, whatever coming out of your mouth can be considered hate speech. So you always uh, in you're expected to always be love and light 24/7. You always have to be nice. You always have to be basically fake because Nobody can be nice all the time. People have their own frustration sometimes, and they want to express it. They want to use swear words, for example. It's no longer allowed on social media because it will be considered bullying, harassment, or hate speech. And I've gone through so many restrictions, and my three main accounts with FB were disabled because I'm very expressive you know, and I'm very honest with myself. I'll tell you what I think, what I feel moment to moment. I don't like to be fake, but apparently the platform that I have invested, the last 10 years of my work want me to be fake. So I guess, I employ certain strategies to just sort of fool the algorithm by saying the opposite what I want to say, just because, so they will stop scrutinizing me. They will sort of release me from the radar. It seems to be working quite well, I must say. So if something works, I will continue doing it. If something doesn't work, drop it. Yeah, this is not ideal. Now I have to really, watch everything I say, even says that things that I don't mean, just to appease uh, the FB police, right? But it is what it is. Again, ladies, it is what it is. What you resist persists. Okay, resistance is futile. So you either follow the rules somehow and try to make change around it, or you're completely gone from the social media platforms. It's your choice. Right now, I cannot be completely gone from these platforms because, hey, I have clients, I have stores in it. This is like my marketplace. I have businesses here, and I cannot just basically remove all my businesses because that's also my livelihood, right? So in a way, you have to be kind of smart to be responsive to the situation. That is exactly, you know, the, the the example of being responsive instead of reactive. So through the practice of meditations, over time there will be brain changes. There will be different, like new connections, no new neural connections that will be created or developed through practice of meditations. And I certainly know it to be true because my brain right now versus my brain before my awakening in 2014 are completely different. My brain right now, even though it's still churning thoughts like your brains, it's pretty much silence most of the time. So I very rarely have the tendency to worry about anything at all, but worrying about things that don't happen, which which is the result of future thinking, right? We're thinking about the future, anticipating problems. I don't do that anymore. I don't anticipate problems. But sometimes because I don't have nothing to worry about, then there is a new worry comes up. How come I'm not worried about anything? That worries me. You know what I'm saying? So you will become so aware of the nature of the mind of wanting to worry about something. And if you're not worried about anything, you will be worried that you're not worried about anything. Because sometimes I think, how come I'm not worried about anything at all? Shouldn't I be worried about something? Because if I'm not worried about something right now, something might go wrong and I'm not prepared to tackle it. That is always like from time to time, that thought arises. Hey, worry about something, please. How come you're not worried? What if something's wrong is happening and you're not aware of it? Right? You see. So and then we go to the week 2, which is very important, is that the path is the goal, ladies. A lot of you are so goal oriented. This is why guys just give up on you because you're just so neurotic. Like You worry, what if all the time, and you want guarantee, right? You want to know ahead of time, even before the first date, if you're going to marry me, stuff like that. Like, you always like 10 steps ahead of the now. And you start making demands that, oh, I need to get married after 6 months, after 1 year. So you're no longer interested in the process, which is actually a huge part of the goal, because without the process, you will never get the goal. So actually, the path is the goal. Once the path and the goal merge, you stop being neurotic. You stop being annoying. Okay, when I say neurotic, what your EOM feels from you is just this restless energy, this needs to control, this needs to know ahead of time an outcome of every situation. It is very, very tiring to deal with someone like that. I cannot deal with people like that anymore in my life. It's just too hyper for me. You know, just just be, just relax. I don't know what's gonna happen, you know, 2 years, 5 years from now. I can plan, maybe I can give you general idea, but not necessarily that will happen, because the participants might not uh, create enough conditions for that goal to happen. So why worry about things that you don't know ahead of you? So worry about now. Try to make the best of your time, moment to moment. So it's the same in terms of relationship. Why you worry so much about marriage? What about worrying right now about setting up, fertilizing the ground so marriage can happen? What is that? What is fertilizing the ground so marriage can happen mean? Meaning you have to create connection, emotional intimacy. You have to be able to get along first. You have to be able to be best friend to each other, because marriage or long-term relationship is going to be like a long time. If you cannot even get along with each other, if you're not best friends to each other, rest assured it's not going to last. The sex is not going to be able to sustain it. After 2 years, 3 years, the sex is pretty much going to be stale a little bit, at least, right? It's pizza every day. It's sex with the same person every day. It's nothing so special anymore after 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So worry about spending a lot of quality time together, creating memories, right? These memories are what is going history, sense of history. So this is true in every uh, aspect of life, ladies. It's true in love. It's true also in career and business. Okay, you have to invest, right? If you, for example, work in a company or for someone, you cannot all of a sudden become the CEO. You know what I'm saying? Trying to sort of be the highest rank on your department while you don't have the experience. You haven't put much investment to be considered for such position, for example. So the process is so important. A lot of you, though, for example, those who come to me for to be trained as my coaches, a lot of you so worried about the future too. Do you think I will be able to be your this, your that, be able to do this, to do that? I said, don't worry about it. I don't know, you know, how you show up. Show up to me first so I know your strengths and weaknesses. You're already worried about 10 years from now, 5 years from now. I don't even know you yet. So let's have this relationship first. You understand? A lot of you don't understand that. You want guarantee. You want me to sign a contract, this and that, because you want guarantee. It's the same, right? You want a contract signed with your EOM or your man that you will do this, that, and the other. No, you have to walk the walk. You have to let the process unfold. You have to create connection, relationship. And you take it one step at a time. There's people who are very highly regarded in a company because they have shown their value. Instead of making demands ahead of time, they showing up, being invested in their job, contribute first before expecting things. That's how I do my life. But I used to be like that too when I was still working a corporate job. I thought, I could make demands because I believe that I'm really better than what I that my current place in life is, right? And you start making demands, but you're really not very invested in the job that you do. You get bored very easily, you give up very easily, you quit in the end. Unlike those people who've been in the with the job, for example, for 10 years, they climbing from a very low level, but through their loyalty to their dedication, to their consistent performance, they climb the ladder to the top of the corporate position. So which one do you think is more going to be more successful? It's the same in every aspect of life, ladies. If you want to be successful in a relationship, you got to invest, right? If you want to be successful in career, you got to invest as well. You cannot plan it ahead of time, making demands. It's not how it works. It is just going to drain the person you're dealing with. This is why, for the most part, I don't like to hire people. I don't like to work with people because people always have these issues. So, for example, one of the coaches that's still with me is Coach Dacia. She's been with me, I don't know, 9 years, but she's been helping me the last 3 years. It's only because she's so relaxed. She doesn't make demands and this and that. She just does it because she loves it. And I can connect to her and I can see her progress. And then gradually I give her more uh, trust, right? And more roles. That's how it works in the world. So the path, the journey is as if not more important than the destination, ladies. I want you to keep that in mind. Yeah. So the journey is in fact the destination. So once you understand the nature of ego, ladies, you will see why the attachment to seeking gets you off the path. Because the path keeps reminding you that here now is already complete and whole as it is. The process is as important as the outcome. By intuitively understanding this paradox, you understand the very fabric of life. That is, you become just, it's impossible to fail in life when you are so immersed in here and now. That's what this program will teach you. This program will help you in love life, will help you in your relationship with your family, children, parents, but we also help you in work and career and business because it's basic. And then on week 3, I can go on and on forever with every subject, This is why my program usually becomes just longer than I plan because there's so much to cover. Not to mention that, dealing with your questions. Okay. So on week 3, I would like to talk about be the observer of the mind because by observing your own mind, you gain understanding of yourself. And so long you don't understand yourself, you will not be self-aware. And people who are not self-aware, they're going to project all the time. What is to project, ladies? Basically, to accuse others the very thing you are suffering yourself. That's what projection is. And what happens when projection becomes so chronic? So you project all the time. You bring conflicts into the world. In the end, people will just don't want to deal with you because you are, that's what we call batshit crazy, right? You accuse me of the very thing that you are doing right now. A lot of you are not even aware of it. This is why, for example, a lot of women accuse men of narcissism, while the narcissistic ones are themselves, because they are not aware, they're not self-aware that of their own narcissistic tendency. And this is also why some people accuse others of being angry, while in fact, they themselves who are angry. And unless I point this out to you with examples, a lot of us are not really aware of that mechanism, that self-defense mechanisms. And the more you become aware of that, you stop doing all of those things. You stop projecting at other people. And because you stop projecting, you become bearable. You become lovable. And your relationship will be easier at least. Right? So it's very important. So you have to know how to observe your own mind, how to observe your mental chatter, how to observe your own predisposition and tendency. And on week 4, I'm going to talk also about healing your childhood wounds and dropping your stories. A lot of you come to relationships, bringing your own baggage, right? Either from the past relationships or also from your unresolved wounds, unhealed wounds from your childhood. If, for example, your childhood was so filled with rejection from your mother or your father, you're going to bring this wound all over into your adult life, and you're gonna respond to your EOM or man the exact same way you responded to your caretakers or your parents. And even when the EUM is not really displaying rejection, but because you carry these wounds or into your adulthood, you will perceive it as that. And other than that, you will also at the same time be attracted to people who reject you because you want to relieve that kind of trauma, that unfinished business that you had with your parents. And you will not be aware of that tendency. So in this week, I will teach you that you don't have to have your childhood wounds or your past rule you. By becoming aware of it, really, just by becoming aware of whatever it is that you are subconsciously or unconsciously experiencing, you'll be able to make a conscious decision on the repertoire of response that you're going to adopt. So you're not going to be stuck in a rut. Remember the previous class, you're stuck in a rut with the same kind of responses to everything that you perceive quite the same way according to your unhealed issues and wounds. Okay? And some of you just don't have the capacity at all to do the opposite. I already said, instead of following impulses, because you have known that following your impulses never amounts to anything, I want you to be aware whenever you feel the impulse to do that exact thing, do the total opposite. Some of you I've been coaching with me for like over 5 years, still do the same exact thing. I say, don't do that. Hours later, you still do the exact same thing. Then I get and I get really harsh with you. I said, which part of don't do that you don't understand? Right? So I want you to be aware of that urge, that impulses, those impulses. And I want you also to heal them. So once you heal them, they no longer rule you from the dark. Like pull the string from behind the curtain. That is basically what it's doing. So I've done so many childhood regression. So I'm gonna take, I guess, the childhood regressions from the previous program and give you as a bonus. So you can do your childhood regression yourself, but you can bring up the result of that regression during class or during Q&A session. So I can help you further how to unravel it. Now you're aware. Oh my God, I remember as a child, I used to be abandoned. I used to be like my parent or my mother or my father used to come to pick me up always late. And I felt that this sort of loneliness, that sense of neglect that still haunts me to this day. But now that I do the childhood regression, I remember that moment and I realize why I'm always acting like batshit crazy with guys, for example, right? Now that you understand that, next time you have that urge to feel abandoned again, you realize this is just my childhood memories come up to the surface. My childhood wounds come up to the surface. So I don't have to respond the same way ever again in my life. So I change the pattern of my behavior and the pattern of me relating with men as well. You understand what I'm saying, ladies? That is week 4. So once you understand the source of your batshit craziness, you can drop the stories. It's no longer you, honey. It happens like 20, 30, 40 years ago. Who you are right now is not that wounded child anymore. Let it go. Drop the stories. You're not that person anymore. Don't let the stories rule you. Okay? And week 5 is connecting to the heart. Right now, all your waking consciousness, ladies, are pretty much ruled by intellect, by the mind, by mental chatters. So, do you know what thinking is? Thinking is the same as mental chatters. Are you even aware of your mental chatters? A lot of you are not, because when I was still in that kind of mode of consciousness, I wasn't aware of mental chatters either. But my life is pretty much narrated, like every step of the way, by my busy head. Talk, yap, 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 all the time. So, you know, automatically, naturally, the perceptions that I gather will be very much tainted by the kind of narratives or narration that is going on in my head every waking moment of your life. It goes without saying. This is why, to a lot of us, the world out there is pretty much the reflection is the world in here. The mental chatters that preoccupy that your waking moments. So if you are aware of your preoccupations, of the kind of filter through which you see the world, which is your mental chatter, you can pretty much mitigate it, meaning that, I don't really have to see it that way. How can I not see it that way? By dropping the stories, dropping the mental chatter. Stop like being so engaged in my own debate and discussion about all and sundry in my head and drop to my heart. That's how you connect to the heart, by slowing down your mental processes, your thinking processes. That's what part uh, of the benefits of meditations, right? To slow down your mental processes, so you become more aware and more relaxed. You're not aware when your mind is busy and chaotic 24/7. The only way you can be aware is when your mind slows down. So you allow intuition to show up more. Intuition is the lack of obsessive thinking. You cannot have intuition unless you sort of slow down the thinking process and uh, turn the volume down on the loudness of your mental chatters. That's how you connect to the heart. That's how you become more serene, more joyful, more patient as well. If you don't have a lot of patience, it's because you operate in the mind level all the time, not in your heart. And as you become more patient, people will respond differently to you as well. They'll love you more because you bring out this serene, joyful energy. Does that make sense to you, ladies? So just slow down. Slow down your speech. Slow down your breathing. Slow down your walking. Slow down your eating. And let this slower, steadier pace perfume your mind. Just slow down, ladies. And once you attain that kind of level of contentedness and awareness, you stop making people a problem. You stop bringing your own issues into the world around you. You stop poisoning the world around you with your neurosis. You understand? That is how pretty much every life issue will be solved, by you slowing down. And soon enough, you will learn that through this process, things that used to ruffle you so much, bother you so much, trigger you so much, doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter. You're like a Teflon. Nothing sticks. That shows that you have grown by leaps and bounds. You understand? So that is week 5. Week 6, there is sense of unity or oneness with everything and everyone else in the universe. Okay, because you can see yourself in everyone, and you can see everyone in you, even those people who we consider as, like, not vibrating at our frequency, because they always bring problems into our peace, right? I mean, we don't want probably to hang out with them, but at the same time, we don't hate them. We don't hate them. We might say, "Oh, I hate them," but you know, push comes to shove, it's not really hate, because you also understand that this person has used to be you. You used to be this person. You used to be annoying as this person. They don't know better because you used to not know better either. When I still knew everything in my 20s and 30s, I probably right now I cannot deal with them with myself either. My younger version of myself, I don't want to deal with her. So there is no hate necessarily, because I used to be you, I've been you. But I just don't want to hang out with you, because whatever I say, you won't understand at this point in your life, because there is no opening yet for you to be receptive to whatever it is I have to say. It's okay. So just go through life and you will learn your lessons. Just trust. Life will give you the lesson you need at any given point in time. Okay. So when you are one with everything, ladies, it's about surrendering to what is and allowing things to be as they are. So you become vulnerable and authentic. This is why I don't feel the need to be always nice, love, and light 24/7, because that is to me is repression. And whatever you repress at the end of the day is going to come back and bite you in the ass. Okay, so do not repress. Instead, understand it. Be aware of it and understand it for what it is. So this program will teach you every feeling that comes up, what it actually is, where that comes from, what does it tell you instead of judging it. I don't judge my anger. I get frustrated a lot these days because of the situation that we are experiencing right now in the world. Yeah, I swear. I swear a lot these days. But that is my authentic self. That is how I feel moment to moment. I don't want to repress it. If you repress it, it will become a disease. Don't repress, but allow, whatever it is, strong emotions that you have to find its natural release. Sometimes you have to express yourself. So be it. Accept yourself, warts and all. Just be authentic. Be vulnerable. Being vulnerable is being being so accepting of your own flaws. You're not trying to portray an image of a saint or an enlightened being. If you're trying to portray an image of an enlightened being, you are far from enlightened. Because enlightenment is not about that. Okay? Enlightenment is about just self acceptance moment to moment. Do you have that? If you have that, then you're enlightened. If you don't, even though you portray an image of a saint, like, oh, meditating 24/7, like the Buddha, always like this. No, that is what fakeness is. I don't do this all the time either. Even though I love the Buddha stages, right? The Buddha image, because it portrays that serenity and calmness, right? But that's not how I look like every day. I'm just as normal as the next person. The difference is I don't have inner conflicts anymore. I'm always at peace with myself, even when I'm feeling very pissed off. I'm at peace with my pissed offness. I'm at peace with my frustrations, with my anger, as part of the process. Accept it, embrace it. So be vulnerable. That's what the very meaning of vulnerability. Not trying to be anything that you're not moment to moment. All right? So I'm also going to talk at length about what is authenticity. What is being authentic is actually about. What is self-actualization? Fiafi self-realization. If you can be both self-actualize and self-realize, you you have arrived. That's what it means. So I will address some ladies in the YouTube. There is Hips here and Magical Mayana. Hi, ladies. Thank you for being here. I'll try to answer your questions in a bit. So stay with me. There is Chalupita here. So far, let's see some other people. There is who else? Hi, Summer. How are you? Hi, Lisa. Hi, Lindsay. So good to see you, ladies. Thank you for being here. All right. Let's see what else after week 6. So back before I go on, self-actualize and self-realize. You know, if you can at least to be self-actualized, you'll be happier than probably uh, 80% of the world population. If you're self-realized, it's what freedom is, right? That's what liberation is. So you've gained inner peace. That is the great liberation. I'm not claiming that you will be able to achieve that in that program, because that is by grace, by the way. Remember, uh, even the Bible says salvation is by grace. So you cannot plan it. You cannot be so ambitious to attain enlightenment, because that would be an oxymoron. Do you understand? Ambition comes from the ego. To be awakened is to be aware of the ego and to be not ruled by the ego. So if you have ambition to be enlightened, that is like wanting your uh, iced tea hot. Do you understand? There is a contradiction in terms. So on the next 2 weeks, I will talk about shadow work. Shadow work is such a big subject. So probably I will dedicate 2 or 3 weeks just on shadow work. Shadow is the part of yourself that you deny and are not aware of. Okay. So, and how were shadow created? Through the experience in the uh, format formative years. So like when you were a child, for example, you were told not to throw a fit. When you throw a fit, you were told that is so wrong to show anger in public, right? So then you will be repressing. Whenever you feel angry, you are telling yourself it's wrong to be angry. Then your anger never gets a proper channel. It's always repress and repress and repress. It becomes dark. So even when you act angry, you're not aware that you are angry. And instead you're gonna accuse other people of being angry. Just one example. There will be many examples and are unique to each one of you. Not everyone is going to have the same shadow issues. So I'm gonna talk about this. Another example, when you are such a neat freak, for example, right? You always want everything perfectly organized, because you are told that it's the most important thing in life is to be a neat freak, to be clean, and you're gonna have this problem in your relationship, because you will nobody else is going to be as neat, as clean, as organized as you are, and you find it just unbearable. So when you become more well-rounded, you become more flexible, and these things don't bother you as much anymore. And because it doesn't bother you, you will not you know respond in such a disproportionate way. So people who have a lot of shadow issues, they always respond in such disproportionate ways to the problems or the issues that they perceive. And this is why relationship becomes so difficult. So I will teach you more awareness of this. Okay. And so I will also, go through the process of recognizing uh, your shadow sides. So we're gonna do exercises so you become more conversant in acknowledging, oh my God, this is the part of me that I haven't reconciled or reclaimed. Remember, in the previous two classes, I talked about the well-rounded ball, right? Right now, there will be a lot of chips on that ball. It's not smooth, it's not well rounded. Chips here, dents here, valleys here, uh, hole here, crater here, like the face of the moon. So with shadow work, you begin to reclaim those dented sides of you and reconcile them. So you become well-rounded. When you are well-rounded, you're no longer going to be disproportionately respond to any situation to a point that it doesn't benefit you anymore. Doesn't benefit you, meaning your overreaction is going to always cost you your job, cost you your marriage, cost you your relationship, right? And so forth and so on. On week 9, I'm going to talk about equanimity. What is equanimity? Equanimity is balance, centeredness. And what is it actually created from? Self-acceptance, the very thing I've been talking about. Once you become whole, you become centered, you become balanced and equanimous, you accept yourself, warts and all. And as you accept yourself, warts and all, the tendency is for you also to become more accepting of other people. To be accepting of other people doesn't mean that you have to always include them in your circle, inner circle, or your clique. Doesn't mean that. It just means that, you know what, you will still hang out with, the kind of people that uh, don't drain you, for example, but you don't hate the people who are not there either. You understand? They're just not there yet. You know, I wouldn't hang out with them because it's draining to me, but I don't hate them either. I accept people wherever they are in their journey at the end of the day. Okay? Because you accept people, then you have no problem with people. You have no problem with the world. Even when the world is so effed up as it is right now, or it has always been actually. But you also at the same time accept and embrace that is part of the process of evolution unfolding. You understand? So self-acceptance is, lady, the culmination of inner work. It's in fact the sole purpose of a journey within. And it's cultivated through expansion of consciousness and practice of awareness. Self-acceptance makes a higher state of happiness that is steady and long-lasting, that doesn't depend on duality. What is duality? Like the dichotomies between pleasure and pain, good and bad, rich and poor. Okay? So when self-judgment ceases, so does judgment of others. Is the end of all conflicts, inner or outer. So if you don't have inner conflicts, you don't have conflicts with the world either. It goes without saying. And so a lot of conflicts in the world are brought by people with a lot of splintered personalities, people with a lot of shadow issues, because they're fighting themselves, right? So the perception of the world is pretty skewed. The world is a battleground. You have to fight for your own right. You have to fight for the preservation of your ego or yourself. So you're always going to fight, 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 fight. Even when there is no fight necessary. When there is fight necessary, yeah, obviously go fight. Sometimes we have to fight. But if it's not necessary, like in most cases, you're just going to create a lot of problems in the world with your unresolved issues. So that is week 9. So what is the next of uh, the weeks? Probably I'm gonna delve deep into feelings. This is very important, ladies, to understand feelings, right? To differentiate between feelings and thinkings, and how you can be at peace with your feelings moment to moment. So we're gonna go deep into the nature of, for example, what is joy, what is sadness, what is uh, being humble, what is arrogant, what is being narcissistic, what is being vulnerable, what is anger, and all the opposites that you can think of as you imagine. What is vulnerability? We're gonna go deep into that. And you can only go deep when you drop the mind, when you really experience the feelings from the heart level, from the core, not through your opinions of what sadness is, but through the capacity to access that feelings uh, directly. Yeah, it will be a lot of practice in that. So a lot of the rest of the time we're gonna delve into our raw feelings and really gain better understanding of what they are all about. Okay, so let me address some questions here. Do you have any questions, ladies? So Hips AS on YouTube say, I feel isolated and in my marriage, and this is why staying married is difficult. So yeah, through this inner work program, honey, you'll be able to understand why you feel isolation. Is it your perception because of your own unresolved issues, or is it really because your partner is absent or unavailable? So we will dig deep into the problem that you are experiencing in your marriage. Hopefully we'll be able to ease your feeling of isolation. Okay. um any other question, ladies? Lindsay asks, can we find Journey Inward through Supporter Hub, or do we need to purchase separately? Yes, Lindsay, it's not the fan subscription. It's not the same. Journey Inward is very focused on just inner work stuff. The fan subscription, I address a lot of things, sort of in a small-ish portion. So Journey Inward is comprehensively about inner work, about understanding yourself. Even though through friend subscription, you also gradually will gain better understanding and greater awareness of yourself as well. Okay. Any other question, ladies? If there is no more question, I will say my last piece, ladies. Just sign up for this very comprehensive, very deep, one of a kind inner work program that I can assure you no dating or relationship coach uh, on the face of the planet Earth teach exactly the way I teach it, obviously, because I'm a different person to them. But it's also going to help you a great deal in every aspect of your life. Will help you, to have a better relationship with your partner, with your parents, with your employees, with your boss, pretty much everyone that you need to have a good relationship with, right? With your friends as well, and will solve most of your life problems. Because let's face it, a lot of our problems are created through our unconsciousness. It's created through the chaotic mind. So when you understand your own mind, you become the king or the queen to your own mind. You no longer become this slave. There's become its slave. So whenever the mind say jump, you jump. The mind say dive, you dive. So when the mind say hang upside down, hang upside down. Right now, a lot of you are reactive like that because you believe everything you think. And I will teach you a sense of detachment to see things in an objective manner. Okay, so you become more functional in your life, in every aspect of your life. It's getting really cold right now. So if you have no more question, ladies, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you on Monday. That's 15 March 15, Monday. We're going to start with our first class at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 11 a.m. Pacific Time. And for the first class, or probably first two classes, I will allow everyone to come just to get a taste of the program. Then I will pretty much close the group only for those who have signed up and who are done with the logistics. So yeah, don't miss our first class on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you understand how this program is going to change your life forever. Thank you so much, ladies, and I'll see you soon in the program. All right, bye bye.